What's up, fellas?
What going down?
Man, we got a lot to talk about this week. I mean, over the last month, we've had several instances come across hip hop, pop culture, black culture, whatever you want to call it, from Derrick Jacks to Sweetie and Quavo to what else? We got Little Nas X. So, where y'all want to get started at?
Yo, let's get into the Lil Nas X real quick, man. It's crazy.
Why is it so crazy?
Come on, man. The demonic symbols on the shoe, the human blood, 666 pairs, and they all sold out, by the way. Sold out, $1,000 a pair, limited edition.
Yeah, I don't think it's hard to get, under 700 people with $1,000 to pre like that, just for the silliness. But I just think, and just in a world of shop culture, and you only got 10 seconds to grab everyone's attention, he jumped on that. Yeah, and I think that's about.
Did y'all see why he did it though? Like what his reasoning was?
No, it wasn't.
So essentially, it was because so he went the demonic route because when he first came out, I guess he was getting backlash from people back at the house, back at the crib, saying he's gonna go to go to hell. He's a sin. So he kind of spit their religion back in their face, essentially. That was just like his way of retaliating.
See, that's the part of the biggest problem, man, is that not the fact that what he did was already awful. But you peel that onion back a little bit, who in his life was so selfish and so uneducated about the gospel that they turn him away like that? Yeah. You know what I mean? Tell him he's gonna go to hell. They can't determine that. They can't determine what's gonna happen to this person. All they should be doing is sharing that gospel with him and making sure that he understands how what it means. You know what I mean? In love and acceptance. But the fact that they didn't do that, look what happened. It pushed him further away from that. That's the problem I have with the whole situation, is that on the surface, okay, you got this things he's doing. I don't even want to mention it because it is what it is. I don't want to draw too much attention to it, but it is what it is. But you peel that back and figure out, okay, why did he get to this point? What happened in his life that got him to this point where he feels that not just he just shutting them down, but he went all the way to the left. He went hardcore to this way. That's a problem, man. Not just for him, but the society as a whole that pushed him to that. Like, what are the people in his life doing and saying to him to make him feel that strongly about going that direction? Even if it's just a ploy for just publicity or attention, you want to use that to yourself for what? Monetary or some kind of notoriety or fame? Is it really worth that? You know what I mean? The fact that this young man feels that that's the way to go, what's that say about us as people in society and how we ostracize him to the point where he's accepting that as his truth?
Yeah.
That's the bigger problem.
Yeah, I mean, granted, definitely ostracized. I mean, I'm pretty sure, when he was going through that instance in his life, pretty sure he was down and out. But now that he's famous, it's a marketing genius move, what he did, because he knew it would be shock and awe. Like, that is shock and awe. It kind of reminds me of Marilyn Manson. Remember Marilyn Manson would come out with just craziness back in the day. It's like what, early 90s, late 90s when Marilyn Manson was doing what he was doing.
Late 90s.
He kind of took a page out of that book. Like, people are always going to be attracted to that shock and awe. The human blood in the I don't even know what the human blood is. In the shoe. I guess it's like in the lining of the bottom of the shoe, something like that. Then he put what is it, a pentagram? What is that? Is it pentagram?
Yeah, the star. The star.
The star. Yeah. Then he put 666 on it. Then he only had 666 pairs. It was just a lot of shock and awe to me. Like, I think he low key knew, okay, this is gonna hit.
Yeah. So for instance, I think a lot of these rappers, these entertainers do that. So for instance, like Tekashi 6ix9ine, he does it all the time, right? He does it all the time. He calls people out. He he calls out people that are like rappers that are dead. But if you listen to him, like give an explanation, and people like, there's no explanation, blah, blah, blah. He kind of does have an explanation, like for instance, King Von. King Von, in a lot of his lyrics, he's talking about, hey, if I die tonight, my homies are gonna ride. If I die tonight, my killers aren't gonna blah, blah, blah. And dude is dead, right? And then Tekashi gets out there and be like, he says stuff crazy, but if you really listen to him, he's like, all your lyrics are saying this, but what happened? You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about me being a fake gangster. This is all y'all rap about. This happened, and I'm watching to see what's the results, the outcome. Y'all coming on me, but y'all supposed to be the real gangsters. So I think of course, it's attention seeking because they're in the business of that. Tekashi isn't hot. I don't even think Lil Nas X is hot. You know what I mean? Granted, he's got the biggest song ever, right? But I don't think people was waiting for his next single, people playing his latest single. So when that happens, you got to find a way to get somebody's attention.
Yeah, exactly. I think, so I was watching Drink Champs the other day, right? And they had, what's that?
With Cameron?
Not with Cam. They had I Am Athlete on.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all, so I don't know if y'all watched that episode, but it was about 2 hours long. Good. It was just a great conversation, but they brought up certain things that's tolerated in music and entertainment versus sports, right? I think this kind of segues into the Sweetie and who?
Quavo.
So, yeah. So so Quavo and the Sweetie thing. So you look at what happened on tape with them, and you think about, okay, it's cool, right? Everything happened, no repercussions, right? Lil Nas X does what he does, no repercussions, except possibly getting sued by Nike. Then
Repercussions.
They
come in repercussions, not in the way you think, though.
they do.
Yeah.
But you think about sports. Remember Ray Rice? Remember what Ray Rice did to this girl in the elevator?
Yeah, you talking about apples and oranges, because Ray Rice,
it is
for a team that is a part of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Lil Nas X is like a legit entrepreneur. He is his own brand. Quavo is his own brand, right? Yeah. And if a label drops them, they can put out music on their own, you know what I'm saying? And they still got royalties and all that, or another label will pick them up with Ray Rice and who else? Even AB, Antonio Brown. You get cut, you're praying that another team picks you up.
Yeah.
If not, where you gonna play football at? The CFL? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna make
XFL
1/100th of your salary. So different when you're legit your own boss. Granted, your sales may be impacted, your endorsements may be impacted, but as far as no kidding, boss, you don't report to a coach, you don't report to an owner, you don't report to a commissioner can't discipline you. You know what I mean?
But artists also can use that as leverage too. Like it kind of works in their favor sometimes.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you look at the publicity that Lil Nas X is getting, right? Yeah. The attention that he's getting. I'm pretty sure it's getting a lot of negative attention, but it's still attention. Like this is.
There's no such bad publicity or good publicity.
Well, unless you're Derek Jack.
Well, so let's stay on Lil Nas X. I think for marketing genius, it's Derek Jack. That's not. There's nothing good that can come from that. But even Lil Nas X, I think two things. For a certain culture, right? If you throw in, for instance, religion, or even, and it's starting to die off, but like the hate for Donald Trump, or if you love Donald Trump, right? And like religion, everyone jumps on that claim. Everyone's got something to say. And it's just so funny. We're just so easily distracted and so easily riled up for certain things, man. It's just like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, why did something like that? To me, it's so goofy and so stupid. How did that get people to jump on that?
To it. Yeah, just don't pay attention to it. Or I'm pretty sure there's tons and tons and tons of instances of that. They just don't have the name Little Nas X, right? But
Of course,
we gave it that fuel. And talking about these are the people your kids will listen to or influencing your kids. No, it's not in my house. You know what I'm saying?
Not happening.
Granted, things slip through the cracks, but that's where parenting comes in. So I just think we just do the most, even with the the Kanye thing with Trump. People just, it's just certain topics where people just get all fueled up, gassed up, and be ready to explode. And I'm like, man, when are we gonna stop being so easily agitated?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. It's like the big three, man: religion, race, and
politics.
Politics. People get into their mind frame where they believe a certain way. This is what I believe. This is what I believe, and they're going to search information that confirms their belief in the first place. So nothing you can tell them that's going to change their mind. So it creates that animosity and that head button constantly. You're going to have those two sides, no matter what is said. If I say, "Hey, this shoe is purple," but I'm a blue shoe fanatic, and you look at it, he says, "No, that shoe is not purple." You're gonna still find no reason why it is, because you believe it already. That's the hard thing to do, convince somebody something they already believe. You need to give them facts. They're not gonna accept it. They're gonna find something else that's gonna prove what they already believe. That's what happens with those big three things. You're gonna have that every single time, so you can't even argue it. You can't say what's what. You're always gonna have that opposite opinion, always, no matter what's going on.
And I think this gives justification for people to act out. So, for instance, it's like, when you always have that kid in middle school or high school that got in a fight, and the teacher's like, "Why you always fighting?" Like, because dude talked about my mama. You know what I'm saying? And in his mind, it was
like justified.
It was justified. But everybody knows someone like me who like to roast on people. I do always have this in my back pocket. I'm like, yo, we getting the jokes, doing talk crazy. I got the your mama joke for him. You know what I'm saying? And always have that ready. And I think Black culture, our culture, people have that as far as like a Tommy Lauren, a Kanye. I don't think Kanye does it on purpose. Little Nas X. We have these little carrots that we dangle, and it's like, these aren't the real issues. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all, man.
Real issues. Coming at Little Nas X doesn't progress our people at all. If your kids did idolize this guy, or this was, Lil Nas X was their favorite artist, you probably need to reevaluate what they listen to, reevaluate yourself as a parent, make those modifications at your household, and keep going. But this, national outrage, man, it's just silly, and it did what it wanted to do. I mean, he got tons of views. I think he's got like 30 million views in a day. Yeah. Because everybody wants to clamor around to see, what the hell. Yeah. What is he talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. I mean, like y'all said, it's like the directed energy it's for all the wrong reasons. Like, and it's faddish. Like, people nowadays, especially with the way we use technology, everyone tries to jump on the latest fad. They would just want to be a part of the conversation, right? But the conversation isn't taking anyone anywhere. It's not doing anything.
That's society, man. We're superficial now. The whole society is superficial, and all about how things look and what's trending. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Because everybody wants that highlight, or that we talked about before, that highlight, or that quick fame, or want to be recognized, and everything that's superficial. That's what we are. We're a superficial society, and the sad part about it is it's growing. It's winning the game. You know what I mean? People are loving this stuff. They're eating it up. That's why things like TMZ, and not to talk about it on there, and these tabloid outlets are so popular. People love that stuff. They love the hype. That's why fight videos get more views than any other videos. People love that carnage, man. For some reason, they gravitate to it. You know what I mean?
I think it's, I mean, I watch, media take out the shade room. It's just like sports. It just breaks, kind of breaks your day up into something real quick. So, just a distraction. But people are really, let's go back to Sweetie and Quavo, where they fall in love with it. And they are like couple goals. Oh my God, Quavo bought Sweetie a $40,000 bag. I need a man like that. That silliness. They're always on social media, kissing and hugging. And the month before, for Valentine's Day, he had, the house laid out of roses, and all these chicks are reposting it, talking about, I can't wait for my guy to do this. Even those clips where like the guy is crying, and his wife is walking down the aisle, and everyone's like, or guys be at their wedding, and him and his best men are like got a choreographed dance, and women be like, if this not my wedding, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? So what's funny is, I wish I had the locker room on here, because they always talking about threesomes and porn with us, but real talk, that's porn for them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not realistic. Because I don't really know how many guys. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's possible, but how many guys are really gonna be crying like a baby at their wedding? That doesn't mean that they're not happy.
Hey man, hold up, man. I've cried at my wedding, man. So we gotta smoke that up. I ain't filming, put it on social media.
Dude, man, I commend you for that. But but there's certain things that I just think, just like
you pick me. Somebody want me.
I think, but just like we're programs, like kids are programmed, men are programmed, we're visual. Media and marketing, they hit women the same way with things that pull on their heartstrings, and they don't know that that's happening. I think it's real easy for women to point to men to say, you guys are overly sexualized because you guys just look at chicks on Instagram with fake bodies. But there's definitely things y'all look to on social media, because we're watching the same, what I'm saying, everyone's on the same platform, everyone's watching the same things, right? However, your focus is on other things. For instance, like, a couple going on a trip to like Fiji on their second date, and dude proposing, and chick like, I need to find love out. You know what I'm saying? This is like, oh my goodness,
that shit ain't gonna happen. All right.
Yeah. You think, man, a lot of these moments, man, they're all intimate, right? And all like, they filmed and they're like on the high def. It's like it's not candid moments. It's not genuine.
Not genuine.
You mean tell me this thing ain't like random? It's not random. It's set up so you can see that kind of stuff, man. People believe that. Oh my God, look what happened. Like, not to get off subject, but I hate it when people show videos of, look, I get this homeless man. I found him on the street. I gave him some shoes. I took him shopping. I gave him some food. Just do it. Why you gotta film it and try to monetize this dude's anguish? You know what I mean?
I hate that, man.
It's so frustrating.
I'm like, man, you know how many times I've given a homeless family or a person a $20 bill? Like, I ain't filming it.
It don't count though, man. You didn't get on Instagram. It don't count.
I ain't get on Instagram, man. I ain't get no likes, man. But it's just crazy. I'm like, who thinks of filming stuff like that? Like, yo, hang on. Let me go to my camera. I got to go to the app. I got to bring the camera up, and then I'm gonna give you like, come on, man. Like,
people hunting for likes. Y'all seen that show, Black Mirror? You ever watch this show?
Of course.
You remember the episode with the likes and the people?
Oh, that was crazy.
Like, that's society for real right now. People don't even realize it. That's what it is right now.
That when the lights go up and the lights go down, and
people internalize their success in life and how they feel about how their life is going based on the likes they get. They post a picture or a video, they don't get a certain amount of likes. They're like, oh, nobody care. Oh, I can't believe nobody care about what I'm doing right now. This is a problem. Like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Like, that can't be the measure of your success in your life, man. It's got to be deeper than that.
And actually puts them in a state of depression. Like,
you get upset,
causing mental illness, and you don't even realize it. That's crazy.
I can't even front, man. Monitoring our social media pages, I'll be like, man, what's the deal? I'll be looking, where the love at?
Yeah, like and subscribe.
So
By
another
the way,
thing,
I like this episode.
a link in bio. But one of the things, going back to Lil Nas X, so on one end you got the market employee where it worked great, it was executed very well, and on the other end, I know he knew he would connect, even though you had the outrage. He's going to have people in his fan base that he actually connects to and speaks to, where there are going to be kids that feel that way. So I think that's an underlying issue where it's not addressed, and that's going to be lost. Where there's probably kids going through some things mentally and spiritually, and I'm pretty sure that song, people knowing who Lil Nas X is and how it came out, that song is going to touch him a different way. And yeah, I think that needs to be addressed too.
Yeah,
that's the stuff. I just think so many things when outrage is sparked. For instance, let's call it a Donald Trump. Let's call it that George Floyd trial. Now everyone's focused on this. The stuff the media wants to show you, right? The testimony, the video, and we're missing the real issues. For instance, that incident took, rest in peace, George Floyd, but that incident took place a year ago, and everybody was locked in the house. Everybody saw it over and over. Now they're playing it again, and now like the videos and the memes and the posts are starting again. People are reliving it, and it's like, all right, cool. In the last, 10 months, what have we progressed? And granted, we've made some strides, but why are we keep going backwards and starting at the same, started versus, all right, now we're here, let's push it forward. Or in the last 12 months, why didn't we come up with a airtight agenda? Because we knew the trial was going to happen. So when we got here, we could be, we can have that as our flag leading the conversations versus replaying like, yo, I can't believe this white cop killed this innocent black man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We haven't made any progression.
I get what you're saying. I think we actually spoke about this in our private chat when it happened. And my biggest concern was, like, let's not get wrapped up in just a moment. Like,
exactly.
Outrage is real. I understand that. But I mean, and it alludes to what you were just talking about, is like, how do we progress forward? You know what I mean? And COVID was a gift and a curse because we're all locked in. Everyone's locked in on their TVs. Certain changes had to be made, but it's like, I still feel like we have a long way to go. And it was just, COVID just kind of put it all out there. No one could go anywhere. So it was easier to, get rowdy. It was easier to address those situations. But I still feel like we really haven't done anything. Like, nothing's really been done.
And stuff won't be done because right now the country and the world's about to open back up. So, the George Floyd thing, the civil protests, everyone's locked in the house watching the same, there's no sports, there's no distraction. Yeah. That's why distractions are good. I think that's why I think sports was necessary. When people are like, why are we worried about sports? Because sports is a good distraction. People are watching news 24/7 on the rise of a virus that no one can see, and basically freaking everyone out that, hey, if you don't stay in the house, you're gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Stay in, be safe. So sports is a good distraction, I think, mentally, right? But the news had your attention. So whatever they put on there, it was like 90% of the country is going to be watching. So they're watching COVID. George Floyd's happened, and now boom, that's put in front of you, and everyone's riled up. But when the world opens back up and everyone's outside, everyone's on vacation, spending time with their family, working out, going to work, and in their normal routine, it's going to be a very small amount of people watching that stuff because now they're distracted with their regular routine. So it's unfortunate that, we had the entire population locked in and we didn't, granted, there was some local laws changed, but we didn't really progress as forward as we could have been.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Definitely.
Yeah. So a new kind of, before we get to that food, Derek Jackson, a new social media, a couple of social media new, starlets, whatever you want to call it, has popped up. Kevin Samuels, we kind of talked to him, but Charleston White, he's become pretty prominent, and if y'all know his story, he's a guy from Dallas, and he went to jail for life for murdering a white male. He's a black male, murdering a white male when he was like 14, and he spent some time in the system. And now that he's out, he's just on TV is blasting everybody. You know what I'm saying? Blasting all the rappers. This abrasive, pretty aggressive. But again, like, I like to, all right, cool, he gets my attention, but now I want to dive a little deeper on why he feels like that. And when he talks about, what he talks about is very, I think, relevant, and it just makes sense. I think he's justified in his feelings. So for instance, he talks about these rappers being the most detrimental. Basically, for one, he said the Crips and Blood are African Americans' biggest like enemy in history. More than the KKK, more than slavery. He basically says the Bloods and the Crips. And he was I think he was like a Crip from Dallas, but he was, just talking about just all of the black moms that have cried because they lost their kids, the Bloods and Crips, especially in the recent years. And basically, he just gave examples of, demonstrations from white supremacists, coming to certain areas, and, basically saying like, these gangs are so down to kill, but when stuff really happens, they're nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They're just so focused on killing each other. But when you got white supremacy coming through their neighborhood, they're nowhere to be found. And you have these rappers making a living and making millions and influencing the youth, basically broadcasting how this stuff is cool, broadcasting how going to jail is cool. And, it makes sense to me.
No, I've been following this dude for a while, man. I can tell you right now, the reason people don't like him when they talk about him, he says things that we don't want to admit, that we don't want to talk about. That internal us hurting us and us doing things to us. And that's not what's popular right now.
Accountability.
Yes, it's not popular. It's not popular to account us for murdering our own people. He talks about that. He talks about how these young men that's 12, 13 years old, that got this murderous lifestyle or this murderous mind, how that came from and where that came from and how their minds are developed yet. When you're exposed to this violent lifestyle at a young age, it becomes normal. It's normal to them, causes a lot of problems in the neighborhood. It's us and internally. And he says that and they don't want to hear it. But the key is what makes him genius. He comes from that. He is that. He can speak that talk. He can talk that talk. He walks that walk. Now he's talking against it and trying to conform it and reform it and trying to make it better. They have to listen. He's not an outsider, man. He's not somebody that grew up in the suburbs, that got dark skin, that want to come back and talk about how things should be run in the hood. He's been living that. Now that he's saying it, people argue against him and they don't like him, but you have no choice but to agree with what he's saying. Yeah. He's coming out of that environment. He's talking to these kids. He's the one talking to these kids that's 14 years old, that's going on trial and having issues for murder. He's talking to these kids about this mental health issues that are developing because of one thing he said that I agree with, and I'm glad he said it. You cannot blame a child for doing things that you feel are criminal and are just horrible and just these horrible things when they are still a child. Their brain is not fixed for that yet. Their brain is not just determining that right and that wrong. Yeah, you have that basic right and wrong, but when you're in that environment and you are festered in there and you have your mind around people that are thinking that same way, you don't have the parents around, you don't have that authority around to guide you, you're going to think, act, and do a certain way. And he's trying to combat that issue internally If we don't fix that, how can we yell about something else that's happening to us in our communities if we don't fix internally? And he's big on that, man. And he says it in a way that people don't like. You know what I mean? He's not always, all happy and this is how we should do. He telling them how it is. He calling out rappers, he calling out their lyrics, he calling out everything they're doing and how they're making all this money, glorifying a lifestyle that's killing our youth.
More importantly, glorifying the lifestyle that they haven't done. You know what I'm
They
saying?
have not.
Like y'all talk about killing people and doing this, and y'all never killed anyone. Y'all never been to jail. Y'all don't have, and he has, and he's been around it. And,
he's been there.
And when he was on, I don't think he was on death row, but he said I was locked up with killers, and those guys, they have so many demons that they're. He was basically explaining how killers go to jail and they break down and cry because they missed their mama's funeral. You know what I'm saying? No one's rapping about that. They're rapping about everything else. And he's like, the stuff they're rapping about is clear to see that they're not killers because killers don't think like that, right? Mm-hmm. He gets on every platform and he calls people out by their name. And he's like, I'm not worried because I know this is not who they are. Like, listen, y'all don't worry about me. He calls out people by their name, right? And one
he don't care, man.
He's like, I'm not worried about these guys because, Little Durk, homeboy, King Von died in the street and he hasn't done anything. You know what I'm saying? And he's still making a song about killing. If you're that bad, you need to do something to get locked up, go to jail, and kill the guy in jail that killed your homeboy if you're that tough. If you're not what you portray to be, I'm not worried. I'm gonna call you out because I see what you are. And I've been the guy you portray to be. I've been around those guys. They don't move like you. They don't talk like you. Why y'all talking so much? Why y'all incriminating yourselves? This is what y'all really do.
It's fake.
Why y'all making albums about it? Why y'all on YouTube about it? Because y'all haven't done it. So y'all don't scare me. And he a real small, frail guy.
Tiny little dude.
Really? I don't think I've seen this cat.
Oh, you gotta check him out, man. He got some
interviews in the chat.
I gotta check.
They're so polarized.
Hey, but check this out though. It's even deeper, man. You think about the music that's out there that glorifies womanizing, the killing, the drug use, the crime life. Why is that being put on the radios more than anything else? There are rappers out there talking about, fixing our communities, or they're talking about, the gospel. They're talking about things that are not as popular, but they don't get that play. They're playing the things that are detrimental to our society. That's what's getting the rotation, man. It's constantly it's the same thing. There's 1 of 3 things they're rapping about that it's being pushed out there: drugs, sex, and violence. That's what's being played the most. So who's really the problem? Is it the rappers that are making the music to get popular? That's what's popular, or is it the ones that's putting it on the radio on rotation constantly?
It's the ones controlling the stream.
What about the ones consuming it?
That's the other thing too. You're right.
You said
somebody's downloading and buying it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the ones controlling the strings, right? So I remember I had a conversation with a few young people about, and this is like, it's kind of along the same lines about Jay-Z's 444 album, right? What a lot of young people say about that album. He ain't talking.
That was boring.
It's boring. I can't.
I like that.
Like, yo, y'all ain't listening to what Jay talking about, That's what I think of. Every time I hear that, it's one, they're conditioned. We are conditioned from a young age, especially if listening to rap, to enjoy certain music based on what they're talking about, right? And I think it really started in the 90s with us, gangster rap, when that came out.
80s, that's the
80s.
Well, the late 80s.
Late 80s changed everything.
Yeah, late 80s.
Colors changed everything.
Yeah, that is true. So let's say late 80s. So, being a young person, that's seeing it right in the videos, the music, the women, the money, like that's what is attractive, right? It's not the positivity of music that's attractive. Like, oh man, they ain't making no money. They ain't doing nothing.
Happy rap.
I want to hear that woke. Yeah, I don't want to hear that woke rap. But the ignorant shit is what people want to, and that's what sells. So that's also what's very attractive is, oh, if I make it this way, if I go that route, I'm guaranteed a hit. I'm guaranteed to make at least $1 million, right? So it's just a revolving door, man. It's crazy because I don't see a break in that at all. I don't know how you fix that.
Vicious cycle.
It's
And
a
another thing
vicious
too is
cycle.
the music you listen to is just on the radio. You're not searching for music that speaks to who you are. There's music out there. There's rappers. There's artists out there that are rapping about stuff that's conscious, that's woke. But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know about them. You know what I mean? You got to seek this stuff out. You got to know what you're looking for. But if you're just going on the surface of what's released and what's pushed to you, if it's pushed to you, it's probably not going to have that message of positivity and what we call woke. It's not going to have that if it's pushed to you. You got to seek the stuff out. You got to know these underground. They call them underground. To me, it's not underground. These rappers that aren't mainstream, or these music artists that aren't mainstream, because they're out there. They got a lot of albums. Like I'm talking 10, 15 years deep. But if you don't know who they are, you don't seek them out, you're not going to know. They're not going to be put out there like that.
And then you got those who are super special, like my man Nipsey, who merged the two. He merged the streets with the, basically not really woke, but self-empowerment. Like, yo, start the business in your hood. You know what I'm saying? Stop spending your money on dumb stuff. But then the next song, he may be talking about his chain. You know what I mean? And and when you hear his interviews, he's letting you know that I know I have to look like this to grab people's attention, but this is really what I'm about. And a lot of celebrities, like even Muhammad Ali. I remember watching an interview from the 70s where they were talking about he's like, I have to pull up in a Mercedes, because if I don't, my people won't feel that I'm relevant and won't listen to anything I say. I'll pull up in a regular car. Everyone's gonna be like, you Muhammad Ali, you must be broke. What are you coming down here to talk to us about? He's like, so I gotta be flashy. So when I do show up, everyone pays attention, because our people, that's what we recognize as success. And a lot of people, several people, even Dame Dash says, when they understood they had to rap about money and being rich to become rich, because that's how you capture people's attention. I think that's just huge in our culture. But all of this stuff goes deeper than I think just music. Music isn't the cause of it. I think our mindset is what makes it successful, not the reverse. I don't think the music is setting us back. I think they're married, but I think us as a people kind of we fuel it, and this is what we consider. Everything's a contradiction. For instance, Bobby Shmurda coming home, everybody was celebrating that because, he went home and did what he was supposed to do. He went to jail, did what he's supposed to do, didn't talk. Welcome home, Bobby Shmurda. And I think he was in jail, 7 years? Yeah, but I'm pretty sure by the time when that dude went to jail, there was several Black kids that entered college, and 7 years later, they're probably like doctors. And no one's, no one's got that.
That was breaking down.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No one's got that plastered on billboards. But we talk about, Tekashi 6ix9ine snitching and all that. That's just silly. Why is the average person worried about that? That's beyond silly. Why is the average person worried about Bobby Shmurda, his legal issues? So that seems to get the most attention, right? When people come home from jail, that gets the most attention versus, it's even like having kids. Someone does something bad, you focus on them, you punishing them, you like, hey, we need to get you right. And then you may have another kid on honor roll, and they're like, well, you're doing what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Keep it up. And that attention is going to the negativity. So I really think it's just deeper than, it's just a reflection of self. Charleston White was talking about how Black people feel that you have to come from the slums. That's what justifies you being Black. That's the seal of you're Black. I came from poverty. You know what I'm saying? I did a crime. I went to jail. I'm officially Black. You know what I'm saying? I've been broke. And it's like, man, we need to change that mindset, because even if you're not that, right? People take a step back to get to that point. So now they can say, hey, I'm a real one because I've done A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because as you were talking, I'm thinking like we put down, and I say we as, just Black people in general, we put down other Black people that grew up in good homes. Oh, you have both your parents. You know what
Real
I mean?
quick.
Like what? You should be happy for them. Man, I'm happy that you didn't have to go through the crazy shit that I had to go through growing up. You know what I mean? Like where cockroaches was your friend. You know what I mean? It's like like thinking about that shit is mind-boggling to me that we will put down someone that actually had both their parents, that grew up in a good home, that pushed education, but glorify those that didn't have anything. Like, yeah, you grew up in the slums, man. We can relate better. Like, nah, he's still Black too. Like,
Yeah, but it might come down to they can appreciate the struggle a little more. You know what I mean? Because you into the
Yeah.
struggle, you can appreciate where they are. That's society. Period. You see somebody that grew up with a silver spoon, perceived silver spoon, you're gonna think they didn't earn it. You know what I mean? As a society, we say people earn stuff when they struggle to get it, which that may not necessarily be the case. But we're all groomed to believe that if you didn't struggle, you didn't really earn what you have. You had to hand it to you. You know what I mean? Like to go back to Reese mentioned him, like Trump, when they say he started his business with a small loan from his father of $1 million.
Yeah.
Instead of us being like, oh man, I wish I could get a loan from my parents for $1 million. Yes, we should wish that for everybody. I want my kids to be able to say that. 10 years from now, that'd be a great thing to say. We don't see it that way. We don't see it that way.
Towards that for our kids.
Yeah. We see it as like, oh, look, yeah, of course he made it. He started with $1 million. Instead of us hating on that, it'd be like, okay, well, cool. That's amazing. Father could do that for him. What can we do to make sure our kids or grandkids have that same advantage? But we don't think like that, man. We just want to tear it down. Like, well, I'm gonna give up. Of course he had that. I don't have that, so I can't make it now because of that.
And granted, I'm not a big fan of Trump.
Right.
What he did with that $1 million is impressive. I mean, what he was able to do with that $1 million is pretty damn impressive. Because we have athletes all the time that come in, they get a lot of money and they lose it, and they ain't nothing. Look at
because our mentality is different. Different mentality.
So they bought it up in I Am Athlete.
Yeah, they sure did.
I forgot which retired athlete it was, but he's like, for the most part, well, two things, right? You have young people get money for the first time. You got young people who are from impoverished areas and situations that are getting money for the first time. And they are 18 to 22, and they're literally the most successful person ever in their lineage. And now they have to take care of so many people. And they basically saying that, we're like probably one of the few that are people where, all right, you're 22, 23, and now you got to go backwards and take care of your grandparents, your parents, your brother, sister, versus Trump saying, his father said, I did the work. Here you go. I started on home plate. Now I'm at second base. You pick it up from here, and your job is to get to third base. But it seemed like we start at home plate, we get to first base, second base. The next generation starts at home. We just keep doing this, going backwards. First, and everyone starts from square one. Versus the whole point is to build building blocks. And because if not, people are rapping about the same stuff from the 80s, what we're doing now, you know what I'm saying? And I think we just haven't progressed as a people. And more importantly, everything starts from the mind. So I think our mindset hasn't progressed.
Yeah. And we got to learn to say no. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to help. I'm not saying don't help. If you come into a large sum of money, I would say figure out a way to get people put on. Like, you know what I mean? How can we progress together? Not just me shelling out money to everybody that I grew up with. Like that's tough. I get it, but you gotta learn to say no sometimes, man.
Yeah, but you got survivor's remorse. You know what I'm saying? You got survivor's remorse where he's like, dang, I'm the only one that made it because I'm really fast or I'm really strong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no better than none of these people. All right, cool. I'm gonna take care of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just human nature where it's just like, okay, now you got 30-year-old men dependent upon you now, right? And if something goes down, if you stop giving them money, they'll stop working. So I don't think it's that easy. I think even people in the military deal with it. You know, when people join at 19 and now they don't want a stable job, they're sending money back home. Or, you know, they're 19-year-olds with real responsibilities because like they're the ones that made it, or their family thinks they're rich and they're the one that anytime there's an issue, they're being called to help out. It's not that saying no is not that easy. It's easier said than done.
Right.
It is.
And I think it's just a mindset.
Because you get that uncle that helped you out, you know what I mean? Or your grandparents that helped you out, get you where you are, you're going to feel some way to obligation to help them back out. If your success is dependent on how they supported you when you were younger. It's hard to say no, man. It's hard to say, I'm not going to give them this because I'm trying to look forward. But it's got to be a balance, man. We got to think future. We got to think future completely. If we're not thinking at least 3 generations deep, I think we're already behind, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? A lot of wealth we get nowadays, it lasts 1 generation. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's no reason why our grandkids can't have success of that wealth. You know what I mean? Other cultures do it.
No, I'm not saying say no right off the bat. Help, you know what I mean? Help where you can, but you definitely got to develop that mind state to say no eventually.
Give them a car. Buy them a car and move on.
Friends and family will use it. It's hard. I get it, but
give them that one gift.
Here you go. Appreciate it.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, granted, you always got obviously your mom, certain people that, hey, they on for the ride, right? But you know, auntie, your favorite cousin, but granted, I think the people who raise you should be, you know what I mean? Always.
And this is my thing, though. One thing he said I disagree with, that looking back thing. If you are financially literate, get that first. Financially literate, how money works, like seriously how it works, not just, you know, budgeting on, you know, expenses and income. You got to go deeper than that. But once you figure out your strategy, research all the time, have a strategy. Once you figure your strategy out, then you can figure out how much you can help. You can help consistently. You can say, I'm sending this percentage back to mom and pops and grandma because this is what I'm bringing in. I can secure it for my future right here. I can live my lifestyle right here, and I can help them out with this little pot. But we got to have that education and know how that works. You can't just say.
I think that's easy for us to do because we've organically and like naturally took that progression, especially in the military. You get these ranks every couple of years and it builds, right? But when you are 18, 19, 20, and boom, you start making $8 million and it goes to 14.
That's
and
true.
then,
That's true.
You know, in a couple of years, you make, you know, 30 million a year. You're getting money so fast, you don't have the growth and appreciation for it. And you feel that even rappers, right? You know, an 18-year-old has a big hit and they tour for a year. They're like, all right, cool, let me get in the lab, write another hit. Oh, shoot, it doesn't do as well. Okay, let me do another. Man, this is harder than I thought. All right, cool, I need to figure out how to get some money, right? I think it's a complex where, especially athletes, where they feel like they're invincible. They're the best thing ever. You know, their city loves them, their owners love them, their team loves them. They're getting all this money. I think they don't see in the future that 10 years from now, you're going to go from 20 million a year to 0, right? You need to figure that out. Or a rapper, you're making all this money because this album is hot, but next summer there's going to be another you and no one's going to be thinking about it. And that's very hard. If any of us being 21, can you imagine you getting $10 million at 21, Jason?
Yes.
How much would you have now? Not now when someone gave you 21.
Oh, you're right.
10 million at 41, but 20 years ago, would you? Someone gave me 10 million right now. I'm gonna be like, I'm invested in the index. My goal is to make 10% a year.
Yeah.
And I can live on $1 million and next year $1 million, and I'm not gonna touch that. But if I got $10 million, you know, 15 years ago, man, all right, cool. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get cars I'm gonna probably have $1 million budget for cars, a $6 million budget for a house. You know, all these. I'm gonna think about all the people I'm gonna take care of. You know, it's two mindsets.
I was never a spender, but I wouldn't have grown that money. I was a big saver, so I probably would have had $10 million right now. I would have saved it all up. I've been sitting there. I probably would have had 9 million. I probably would have had 9 million.
780.
I'd have bought a couple of meal deals about it. But I wouldn't have invested it though. I wouldn't have invested it. I didn't have that mindset back then. When I was 21, I was a big saver. I told you before, man. I was all about saving, man. I was gonna save my money and pay my 10% tithe, whatever. I had it down. I said, but I wasn't investing. That money would not have grown at all if I would have had that mindset back then. It takes that time of education, meeting you fellas, meeting different people. You gotta grow it, man. You gotta grow that mindset. And the biggest thing too we don't talk about is that you gotta know that you have a need to learn that. My thing is I didn't know I had a need to even learn how to invest and how to. You don't know. That's the scariest part, is that ignorance of not knowing what you need to know. That's the biggest gap I say in my life that I hate, that some people go through, is not knowing just something out there that you need to know. You don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and this blatant to everyone else, for instance, like let's go back to Kevin Samuels, where some of these women be on his pot and he's looking at them like, you're so delusional. All right, let me keep it real with you. Let's rate yourself, because you're complaining about something. You need to, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? I'm not, I'm 5'2", 220.
220.
Huh?
You're a running back.
I'm not that. Some people like
He said, you are a linebacker. He said, you shooting the A gap.
He's like, you blind.
You're running back.
You barely standing. You Emmitt Smith.
Oh my God.
Men, I don't like thick women. So why don't you have it? Like, you need to focus on these certain things on, you trying to focus on investing, but you got a $40,000 car in your driveway. You got $20,000 of credit card debt. Let's take a step back, right? I mean, investing is really cool right now, but you need to focus on, Hakeem, like I said, for fitness. Hey, I'm trying to get in shape, and they may be eating a Snickers bar talking to you. Or, they got
I do it on Monday.
They got a Diet Pepsi in their hand. You know what I'm saying? So what's your routine, bro?
Yeah. I get that a lot.
Wait, hold on. First of all, you need a gallon of water in your hand.
That's how I'm saying. Let me have some water, bro.
Yeah, so like you say, you don't know what you don't know. It's very unfortunate, because it is a vicious cycle, and those who raised us, they didn't have, they knew how to work hard, right? Our people definitely know how to work hard, but it was paycheck to paycheck. The generation before that worked even harder and had more issues, but it's just unfortunate that we making minor progress or none at all.
And then the other part is, in today's society, with technology being what it is, ignorance is a choice. We have too much information out there that we can get, and we can, by tapping into Google, tapping into search, it's right there. You got it. So right now, the excuse of not knowing is getting a little bit smaller. That gap is closing, because you got to know just to diversify what you look at. You know what I mean? That may segue to something else. There's times, even now, man, I feel like I know a decent amount of things about it when it comes to investing, but I'm still learning things, man. I'll watch a video on something and see a suggestion, and then I'll read that, and I'm like, I didn't know about that. That's when I realized that you cannot just say you know everything and stop learning. Once you stop learning, man, that's death. You have got to keep it going. I don't care who you are.
That's the beauty of technology. Just being able to literally Google something, and you, like you said, it can segue and take you down a rabbit hole. And you're like, man, I learned at least 10 new things today. You know what I mean? Like, I love that about technology, but you gotta use it. You can't just use it. You
can also watch a bunch of cat videos for 3 hours too. So you gotta be careful, man. That rabbit hole will get you, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna get off the subject. One night I was on Google looking at something, not Google, but on YouTube looking at some algorithm. I forgot what I was looking at. I started watching what's it called? Ferret hunting videos. This dude was using like a ferret or a weasel or something. No, what was it? Yeah, it was a ferret. I forgot what animal it was. But he was hunting down muskrats I watched like 20 videos of this dude hunting down muskrats with this dang weasel or whatever it was. Because I went down the wrong rabbit hole. You know?
Everyone has those guilty pleasures, man. You know what I like?
Oh,
There's this dude, Gerald Hudson. He goes to like to malls and he just like randomly hugs people and he calls them like, "Oh, LeBron James, let me get off me." Or the other one like catching gold diggers, where a dude has like a Ferrari park.
Oh yeah,
to holler at a chick.
I get
and they're like, "No, I got a boyfriend now. You did." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to bother you." And he walks back to the Ferrari. The girl, she's like, "This your car? This your car?" So man, I could watch that all day.
Yeah,
but it's one of those. I think life is about two things. It's about knowing self. Knowing like really understanding yourself. What makes you tick? What's your vices? What's your strengths and weaknesses? And really knowing self and not being in denial. And then other things, just balance. I mean, it's balance. You got to have that. I remember they said Michael Jordan was so distraught when his father died because his dad taught him about balance. Like his dad said, "Yo, it's okay to go to Atlantic City and gamble and do your thing on the side. You're Michael Jordan. You have a lot going on." And you just can't let that compound. You have to blow off steam. You know what I mean? And I think that's so important, especially like the generation of guys like us or people like us, men and women, where, all right, cool, we realize we're in the matrix and now we're doing everything we can to maneuver in it. That's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot. The more you know, the more you feel that you're far behind, like, man, I got to catch up. And your mind could just be spinning all day. And that's great. You're trying to progress to the next generation. But if you're not going to enjoy it and and basically take a step back and enjoy the process, I think that's why vacations are important. Exercise is important. Going out and enjoying life is important. And at the same time, trying to progress your family and your culture.
Yeah, you'll work yourself to death.
Or you worry yourself to death.
Worry yourself to death. I mean, I'm kind of going through, I can definitely relate to what you just said, just going through this transition of retirement, right? And I feel like I'm pretty well set, right? Degrees, certifications, like I kind of know what I want to do when I get out, when I grow up. And then you start actually talking to people that are out and you're like, damn, there's still a lot I need to do. All right. I mean, that's like the first time I wrote my resume. Like, I'm like, it's not gonna be that hard. Man, this recruiter tore my damn resume apart, man. He made me feel like dirt. But I was like, I still have a lot of learning to do. And one thing, the way I balance it is I don't beat myself up about not knowing. Right. Like, I'm glad that I don't know, because I'm like, okay, I can learn it and then refine it and then tailor it to my own way of doing it. So I definitely understand. Like, I could totally relate to that. I mean, I could see how you'll go stir crazy. I can see how something like that can make you just go stir crazy. But yeah, it is definitely about balance. You have to have that balance. You'll lose your mind.
Yeah, man. I'm opposite of you, man. I do get mad for something I learned that's new. I'm like, man, I didn't know this 5 years ago, man. I get mad, man. Mad at myself. Like, how did I not find this information before? You know?
Yeah.
That's tough, man.
It is. But that's the beauty of life, man. It's the beauty of it. You can always learn something new. Always learn something.
Should be too.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get to the coonfoonery, bro. Derek Jack.
Man, I'm logging off, man. I ain't talking about that.
That boy D Jax.
Oh, news, man.
Called more distractions to relationships. And basically was living the life himself. So for those who aren't familiar with it, the young man relationship guru, Derek Jax, who gives relationship advice in his car about how, no man ever cheats. You should, lift your woman up. If your man doesn't do A, B, C, and D, you need to leave him. And basically he was coming off like he was perfect, and relationships are perfect and people should be perfect. and he was outed last month, a few weeks ago. Basically, he's a married man. One of the women he was messing with on the side put him on blast. He comes to, in his response, he basically deflected and said he was having a sexual relationship with her without having sex. When he was separated with his wife, and there's tons of videos saying just because you're separated doesn't mean you can mess with other women. That's an excuse. And then the final straw is he brought his wife on with him, squeezing her hand, basically looking like forcing her to say we're supportive. And it was just a mess. And not only, I think a lot of times it's not the action, it's the response. And this response just showed he's a narcissist, and he was in it for one thing. He manipulated a lot of people, and it's just unfortunate. So.
Yeah, I didn't see the video, man, but I heard it was absolutely crazy. With the one with him holding his wife's hand and everything, like she low key kind of like a hostage.
You're not surprised from all the years of him being him, but you're like, yo, you have no remorse. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you are a psychopath. You know, you're basically saying, hey, you know, this happened months ago, but I have my wife here to tell you about it. You know what I'm saying? She's here supporting me. Right, babe? Right. She clearly doesn't want to be there. And it's not her reason. Like, nobody knew who this lady was. And now you put her on Front Street, and now everyone's talking about her image and her response. So you basically deflected. So you like, man, all these arrows coming at me. Hey, babe, kind of stand in front of me, babe. You know what I mean? And she had nothing.
Shield.
Yeah.
Man. That dude, he sounds like a psychopath, man. More of a sociopath too, man. Like, the fact that he would go on and just like bash dudes, I'm like, come on, man. You know guys aren't perfect. You know this world isn't perfect. There's women that do some crazy shit. Like, what? I don't know, man.
He did it because it paid the bills, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He didn't believe that stuff, you know. He did it because it triggers emotions. You know how we are. We're emotional people. It triggered emotions. People like that. Oh, he's saying what I think anyway. Yep, he justifying what I believe. He just speaking to them in a language they understand, and they was buying it. And that whole thing was just protecting the brand. That's who he is. That's all that is. He put his brand. I want to say this. I don't know the man personally. That he put his wife, you know, behind his brand, but it appears that way.
Very self-serving.
You know what I mean? That's what I said. I don't watch his stuff, so I can't really talk on him too much. I don't watch none of his stuff he does. I just know of him.
I don't watch it either. I just know the topics. You know what I mean? I know the context that he's laying out there, but I've never watched any of his videos. But just knowing, you know, the context of what he was saying, like, come on, man, you're a sociopath.
But I think it's like, again, it's porn for women. So I think, you know, for men, women complain like, you know, they have these unrealistic standards of body and how sex should be, this and that. And that gets drilled in your brain. And then on the other end, you got this dude, he found a lane where, cool, I'm, you know, good looking buff dude, you know, pretty young. All right, cool. I'm about to tell women, I'm about to portray this image, and now women want to fall in love with it. And this is what they'll be looking for. And the bar is so high, you know what I mean? Where it basically is unrealistic, right? And he proved it. He proved it himself, and hopefully that will bring things down. But there's several women that came out later that said, dude, that have confirmed they straight broke up their relationship or got a divorce because of his advice.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Got on there and said, you know, I literally left my husband because of his advice, you know.
Well,
so.
And again, that's on them, man. You watching a dude on YouTube, you gonna leave your husband because some dude speaking on YouTube? You need to see a counselor, a professional.
Well, you know, but you know, people can be easily influenced, man. You become a fan of
people on YouTube every day.
What's that?
People lose, you know, these financial gurus on YouTube and Instagram lose money because of their advice.
Yeah.
People so easily influenced. But again, it's programming. It's what we're talking about with rap music. Is what we're talking about with Lil Nas X. People are just so quick to grab the bait and be distracted, and just take things for face value. Just because something looks, you know, I'm standing in front of a Lamborghini. I own 1 million condos. hit me up. I got this great 4-step program, only $10,000.
Yeah.
Have this lifestyle.
Thousands.
It only takes a couple of people to write that check for him. I just need 5 people. I just need 5 people a month, and I'm good.
That's it.
And sooner or later, I can actually buy this Lambo, right? Like rappers. All right, let me get a couple of fake chains. Let me talk about how great my chain is. Rap about it. Okay, now I got enough money to buy some real chains. You know what I'm saying?
It's the ultimate hustle, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's it. It's all a hustle.
Yeah. I mean, people just look for, you know, they want to feel like they belong or they can relate to something, you know. I mean, you think some of these, I don't want to say, I don't want to put people in a particular group, but, you know, you have some people that are in relationships that don't have an outlet. They don't have anyone to go to. So their go-to is YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, you know, like, and even then in the digital world, you can feel accepted. You can feel a part of something like, yeah, that's my group. That's what I believe in. And he's telling the truth. And I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm going to divorce your ass. Like, it's, people are easily influenced. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy ass world, man.
Just like Sweetie and Quavo, that was a real deal. You know, if your man's not buying you a bag, you know what I'm saying? And they're young, you know, they're in their 20s. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure chicks are looking at they do like, where's my Coach bag? Where's the, like, huh? Yeah. Man, we got real problems out here. Yeah, I got bills. Yeah, so it's just unfortunate, and you know, it's both, and I think it's, for the most part, it's just people, just unfortunately the world we live in. I think it's all cultures, but for some reason, I think Black people are more easily influenced, especially by like shiny things, by, you know, foreign cars and jewelry. All right, cool. This person has that. This is the person we should look up to in our music and our entertainment. You know, even certain entertainers talking about the vaccine, even certain entertainers talking about who to vote for. It's like, how is your opinion? Where did you get your facts from? You know what I mean? Besides you acting in movies, who are you? You know, how are you an expert in this field?
Yeah, never understood that.
We put a lot of stock into that. Dave Chappelle, you all remember that Dave Chappelle joke when I think it was during September 11th, and he was like, the newscast was like, we got Ja Rule on the line. Let's hear it. He was like, I don't give a damn what Ja Rule got to say about that. I'm scared for my life. But that's fact. I mean, we look at these entertainers like they're the you know, they're the great minds of our world, and they're really not. They're just talented at acting or making music. I'm saying you're not. I'm not saying that you're a smart person, but come on, you're not. Your field of work is not astrophysics. You know what I mean? It's not, you're making good movies. You make good music.
Haven't studied in, you know, global relations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you know, and it's even worse now because now you got YouTubers, you got Instagram, social media, whatever they're called, influencers. Now you need one with an iPhone who gets some popularity. Now they're giving their opinion, and it's like, man, where does it stop?
Yeah, like it's one thing to give your opinion and give your thought on an issue. It's another thing to come off as like an expert. Like,
yeah, absolute. This is absolute.
You know,
and that's what Derek Jackson's talking about. He's like, yo, if your man is not doing this, he doesn't love you. I'll tell you right now, he doesn't love you. And
it's like so matter of fact, and it's not.
If y'all been dating for 6 months and he hasn't proposed, he knows you're not going to be his wife. Just know that. You'll never be his wife. And you're like, what? Like, it's absolute. And it's like, no situation, there's no nuances. These situations are black and white.
Yeah.
And I just gave you the game, so you know what you need to do. Yeah. And people like take that like, oh my goodness, we've been dating for 7 months and I don't have a ring. He's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's even so bad that people will take information or advice from a meme. It ain't got to be a video.
Oh my goodness.
If a meme is constructed correctly, they're like, oh, that's true. Look, Morgan Freeman's face next to it. Yeah, I know that's true. You know what I mean? Like we that obtuse now, man. We just looking at stuff like something that's so simple and making life decisions on limited information and one-way information. Not asking questions, not having a dialogue. We read it, we see it, we listen to it. All of a sudden, that's gospel. That's what it is.
And it's even crazier because I think you get even more affirmation when you start reading the comments and people are like, see, I knew it.
Yep.
I knew it. I saw that somewhere else in a book somewhere. And you know what I mean? Like,
so I think also even with the financial boom or the financial literacy wave, I think that's getting out of hand too. Because it's like, all right, first thing, take your stimulus, start an LLC, buy your property, and quit your job.
Like what?
In 3 months, in 3 months, you could be a millionaire. And it's like, oh my goodness. You know,
keep your jobs. Keep your jobs until your passive income pays all your bills. Then you quit your job. That's an order of things, man.
Point blank, if you're receiving a stimulus check, don't quit your job. don't quit your job anytime soon. Got a little bit more work to do.
Right.
All right, fellas. Good talk. So let's go around and give people something about anything we talked about.
Oh my God. Don't listen to Derek Jacks anymore. That's my advice. Just look, everything that comes out on the internet, man, you got to take it with a grain of salt. There are a lot of people that want to come off like experts that aren't, that really don't give a damn about you. Like, just take it with a grain of salt, man. A lot of it is entertainment, trying to get the buck, trying to get the bag. Take it with a grain of salt. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I'll say take a break from social media for a week. See if you can do a week. Like I'm talking on everything. I'm talking Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Take a week. Don't consume any kind of information that's being pushed to you. Talk to your friends, talk to your loved ones, back and forth messenger, but don't take any information that's pushed to you. See what happens. See what changes.
Only except the diversified gentleman.
Like, subscribe, share.
Turn off all your notifications. It says that will pertinent information. You don't want to miss anything. So I would just stay focused on critical thinking. Just focus on critical thinking. Really, it's great to consume. And some stuff you just, like, even if you turn off social media, you turn off TV, you still, man, marketing is at a point with technology. It's really, I feel sometimes I think of something, I will turn on my phone and it's advertising, and man, it's scary. Or I'll have a conversation and I turn on my phone and it's like what I'm talking about is advertised, and it's on sale. So just take critical thinking as to, all right, what state are you currently in? What is this information being fed to me, and how do I really use it? And sometimes it's sleeping on it for a day, sleeping on it for a week, and then also knowing self. So know that if you're susceptible to shiny things, if you really like to shop, if that's your vice, understand that when you're in a vulnerable state, that you could be easily influenced by those things. So when you recognize that and say, just like eating, right? When you one of those, what do they call it when you eat because you're depressed?
Emotional eater.
No,
correct. Emotional eater. All right, cool. I know I'm not hungry. I'm just sad. I'm just depressed. I had a long week, and I got that ice cream in the refrigerator calling my name, but that's not really what I want to do. So just know that, and we're human. We're gonna slip up. It's all about balance. You can't eat healthy 100% of the time. You can't read your Bible all day, every day. You can't watch the news all day, every day. Yet there is a balance. If you're working hard, you should splurge. You should go to the mall. You should take vacations. But can't tip the scale either way. You gotta stay pretty even keel. Because you only get one life. You should enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it is a long life. So you need to be prepared for the marathon. But with that, make sure you like and subscribe, share, comment. We appreciate you joining us. See you next week. We out. Thanks for coming through. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content. Also, ensure that you like us on IG. And also, you can listen to the audio version on all streaming formats like Apple and Spotify.